Hey, Slater Crusaders, America's the greatest country in the world. Happy Thursday, best day of the week. Oh, hey, friendly reminder to download the app here. Can you see it on the, can't see that. Right there in the bottom, boom, that's it. The First TV app, give it a download, and it's totally free, and everything's right there. All of our shows, me, Jesse, Dana, Buck, you can watch live. It's the best way to watch. It's right there on your phone, piece of cake, totally free in the App Store. The First TV, search for it, and it's yours. All right, let's reiterate this for the millionth time. Let me actually quote Ben Shapiro. He does a pretty good job with this. He says, the goal of flattening the curve for the 1,000th time was to avoid swamping the health system. If we're now shifting the argument to buying time so that we can develop a vaccine, okay, let's just say it out loud. And then let's hear some prospective timelines. But here's the problem. If we're waiting for a deus ex machina, we'll explain that in a second, while tens of millions of people lose their jobs and fall into poverty and despair, and we have no timeline, that's not a plan. That's just hope, and hope isn't a plan. Deus ex machina, this is used like a literary device when the people in a story it's so hopeless, there's no way out, and the only way out is some miraculous event from God. And it's not a good literary device. I always thought this in Pinocchio. I thought Pinocchio was so goofy from, it's about a puppet who comes to life. But the fairy, whatever, comes down and bails Pinocchio out of the cage one time, but then doesn't do anything else. Like if the fairy's gonna come down and bail you out that one time, where are you, fairy? So that's a stupid literary device usually because every problem could just be resolved with some fairy godmother coming in, right? But that's what we would need here, right? And that's what it sounds like people are at least acting like that's what they're waiting for. Just somehow miraculously, this is just gonna end. Like some vaccine just appears next week and everyone just magically takes it, or the virus mutates in a way that instead of making you sick, it helps you lose that last 20 pounds or something, right? Like, that's not happening. So what's the goal? And Shapiro asks, he says, are we looking to buy time at home until a vaccine comes out? That's one plan. Or are we going to try to do this herd immunity thing? Because those are two very different things. So we got to articulate what we're trying to do here. And his other point is that he's like, listen, this deus ex machina, like, that's the unspoken assumption, and perhaps it's a justified one. Like, if that's what you want to make, if that's the argument you want to make, that's great, but just make it. Make it out loud so we can talk about it, we can debate it. And he had a great line. He said, so far, all we've heard is strategy, not the goal. And that's a problem, and will undermine public confidence in the strategy itself as well. That's so good. I get the strategy. We've all heard the strategy. I've had it up to here with the strategy. Masks, 6 feet, temperature checks. Yeah, I get it. But for what? Like, for what? What's the end goal of that? The goal was originally to keep the pandemic from growing exponentially, keep us under healthcare capacity, right? That's great. We don't want to overrun our hospitals, right? You got a hospital with 300 beds. You don't want 3,000 patients. That could have been a disaster. We're nowhere near that. Nowhere near that. I don't even think that's in the ballpark of happening anywhere. So we got to start, we're going to move on. And I don't mean like, move on like it never happened, but like, phase 2, like what now? We need a new goal. We achieved the first goal. Congratulations, what's the next goal? Slater Crusaders, thanks for watching The First on YouTube. If you want more, like, subscribe, we got plenty.